Hi, and welcome to the Westway Man Cave for another edition of a talk through the Kilmarnock music scene. Today we've got a... What are you doing?
Oh, why are you doing this one?
You're not in it.
I'm never in, I'm always there behind the camera.
There's a reason why you're behind the camera. Me and Kirky are the talent, no you. Folk don't want to see you, Barry. They want to hear me and Kirky. Get back around there where you belong. Move it. What'd you make of that? It's cheeky, it.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Sorry about that, Campbell. How unprofessional. I mean, geez, oh. Right, we'll do that again. All right, you ready?
Aye, I'm ready.
Jeez.
This better not happen again.
No. What do you make it? Hi, and welcome to the Westway Man Cave for another edition of a talk through the... Oh, aye, very good, Barry. Grow up. Stop crying. Barry, put the camera back up. Now! Hello and welcome to the Westway Man Cave for another edition of a talk through the Kilmarnock music scene. Today we have our old friend Campbell Rubus Dulles Warnock, who has been a member of Sunflower Trip, Straw Dogs, The Stumblers and Random, and he's currently plying his trade with the Westway Allstars. He's also been a manager, a roadie and a promoter and a general all-round good guy. Welcome, Rubus.
Cheers for having me.
No problem.
Rubus, when did you first get into music and what kind of stuff were you listening to?
I've done my homework because you sent me the questions. Probably about 15, I started getting right into music, but heavy rock, heavy metal, and sort of kind of tend towards sort of death metal, and not quite what I kind of listened to and sort of moved on to listen to, but I do go back to that sort of genre. So, if that answers.
And when did you get your first guitar?
Well, I've got a wee story about that. A mutual friend of ours, Mick Gallagher, he was moving house, and in his cupboard, he was like clearing out, and he was like, "Oh, would you like this?" And he gave me an old kind of Les Paul guitar thing with 4 or 5 strings on it and an amp, not knowing that actually electrocutes you. So on many occasions, I was like, just when I was like plugging in and then I was starting to learn it, I was like, I got a wee zap, but I didn't realise that the amp wasn't earthed or something like that. So yeah, so I got a few shocks off it, and that was my sort of first sort of turn into learning to play guitar. So there you go.
So it's Mick's fault?
Definitely Mick's fault.
I'll see Mick at the football
yeah,
today, so
100% it's Mick's fault.
I'll be saying to him about that.
He might want his guitar back, so you might want to.
And when did you form your first band?
I do not know about the years, but I say, again, just looking at the questions, it literally is a case of, you know somebody that sings, you know somebody that strums, you know somebody that can beat a drum, and before you know it, that's how the kind of band formed. It was just like, oh, somebody I sit next to at football, it's like, plays drums, let's put a band together. And it went that way. I didn't plan to be a musician or do anything like that. I say I got a guitar that electrocuted me and the strings hurt my fingers. So I don't know how I even progressed to where I am at just now. But yeah, that was my kind of first forage into it. And just learning covers and eventually writing their own songs and stuff like that. So.
And how long did it take for you getting the guitar to getting on a stage, playing your first gig?
Probably ages. I don't think we wanted to be on the stage. I think we just wanted to rehearse and stuff like that. And I think the opportunity came up to play a gig, and it was like, should we do it? And it was like, whatever age we were, was it nerves or like, I don't know. It was a fine line. We just liked to play. And I say it wasn't at the moving on stage. I don't know if we wanted to do that or not. And then I think it was the second gig we did, and was playing some original songs and people were dancing. And in my head when I was playing guitar, I was like, I don't know if I wrote songs I want people to dance to. It was a bit strange for me. I was just like, I don't know, it's a sort of mind block of where it was at, but yeah.
What memories do you have of your early gigs?
Again, I think it's like being in that environment that I didn't know if I wanted to be in. That environment was just like turning up, and band time's not the same as real time. You turn up for to do a gig, before you know it, you're there at 4 o'clock, you're not playing at 10 o'clock. And I didn't particularly like that whole idea, do you know what I mean? I like to be organised, and like, if you have equipment failure or band members don't turn up, and I didn't realise that all this chaos came with playing the band. I do now, I tell you that right now. But early memories is like, having good times, it's just like playing bands with your friends and then sort of meeting more musicians through what you're doing, and then the circle gets bigger and bigger. But yeah, it's all been good fun. There's been some strange times and shitty times, but it's all part of the journey. Do you know what I mean?
What venues did you play in Kilmarnock?
So looking back at, just laughing about it, I'd say I did my homework, did some notes. The Caddy Coy over the years, whether it's Straw Dogs, last year's Men, it was like Sunflower Trip. We were doing a wee gig with Sunflower Trip supporting Straw Dogs, which was when I first joined them. And so I was playing twice that night. We did the Sunflower Trip, and Pete Loaf came up and says, really like your band. We're doing their annual Grand Hall Meatloaf thing. He's like, will you play? And I was like, straight away, I'm like, 100 quid, case of beer, tray sandwiches. And he just like that, no bother. And then I said to the band, I was like, can everyone make it? Do you know what I mean? I was just like, I try. And we could make it, and it turned out to be like a fun time. And it was, I can't remember what year it was, but it was the time when the weather was so bad. In Kilmarnock, the snow was like, there was no more taxis going back. My parents were at the gig. There was no more taxis going back. They got in a taxi and, they sort of got home, and that was it. The snow was like up to the on height. And I had walked round to my flat when I stayed in the town centre, and I was almost getting to go into my flat, and then realised that I'd left my guitar outside the Grand Hall against the wall, and I ran round it, and it was my 12-string electric, and I ran round, and you couldn't. It was still there, but you couldn't see it because literally the snow was that height, and Barry, who is hiding and lurking in the room, I showed him a sort of poem, possibly a song that I wrote not long ago, and it takes a kind of adventure, and you wouldn't realise, but the song is actually about that instant of leaving the sort of guitar against the wall. But when you kind of look back on it, it's a bit tentative. It's almost like I left someone there, but I didn't, and stuff like that. So, aye.
You and I wrote a song once when we were drunk.
Only Roses, yeah. Go for it.
Only Roses Make Me Smile.
Yes.
And do you remember, was there another story, you somebody phoned you or something like that, and you thought it was me?
Yes. So,
and you said down the phone to the guy, Only Roses Make Me Smile, and the guy was like, what are you talking about?
I actually was a bit mortified with that.
We were supposed to be doing stuff for the Rest of Music Live, and you and I get fairly drunk, and we're watching folk out your because in Campbell's flat in Grange Street, you could see all the folk coming out of the pubs and the nightclubs and everything. We were watching them, there was fights going on, there was a bit of jiggery pokery happening as well.
Yep.
I mean, we wrote this daft song, and then next time I saw you, he says, I thought you'd phoned me the other day there. I said to the guy, Only Roses Make Me Smile, and he's like, good for you, mate.
Yeah, it wasn't let's say it wasn't Monroe. And I think we got out that night, we went to Fanny's after it, and I think we met the All Saints.
We did with the cowboy hats on.
Yeah, we're not sure who they were, but
I don't know who they were, it was just girls with cowboy hats on.
But at this point we were a bit rubbered, so it was just like...
We made a hasty retreat back to Campbell's flat.
So how long did the Sunflower Trip last, and had you already joined Straw Dogs while you were still in Sunflower Trip?
Yes, because they were quite fly that way. They wanted a support band, and when they went and did gigs, we played. I say that was my first sort of forage. I played at the Caddy with Sunflower Trip, and then that was my first time ever kind of played with Straw Dogs. I was kind of introduced as a new rhythm guitarist, and we did a set, and I actually do have a recording of it. And there was a really good bum note in it, and I'll not say who it was, but it turned out, and I was quite shocked it wasn't me. But yeah,
Straw Dogs fly. Surely not.
The very first song and almost the very first opening chord, I say it kind of put me back a bit because I thought I'd hit a bit of a clanger, and I was a bit drunk because I'd been sort of playing another band and sort of socialising and stuff like that. So it kind of put me in the kind of back foot. But after hearing the recording, it actually wasn't me, so I was quite happy with that. But yeah, we went to, as I say, just jokingly, because we're all mates, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, we're playing Nairn, well, let's take both bands, you know what I mean? So, Sunflower Trip doing Straw Dogs and Last Year's Men and that over Nairn, we've had some great times about it, do you know what I mean? So,
you were also a member of the Stumblers. How did that come about?
I was playing in Hammer's band. He's doing his original music, which a big shout out to. He's got a new album that's The production's amazing. Again, no names will be named. Barry. I'm throwing that out there. But Hammer had asked me to join his band, and he was doing this original stuff, and I lived in Simonton, and he'd asked me to join his band, and I went and saw him play at the Dundalk Music Festival, and he played as a two-piece, and it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. It was like, he literally was like Hammer playing an acoustic guitar, and then he's got his box, he keeps his harmonicas and his songs and everything in, and he's just stood up on this box, and he's 6'4", without the high heels, do you know what I mean? And he's like that, and he was playing his guitar, and there was nothing coming through the PA, then I noticed he hadn't plugged his lead in, do you know what I mean? So I went over to the sound man and told him, and the conversation got on, and we got him up and running, and before you know it, Hammer's like playing guitar, breaking strings, turning it round, beating it like a drum, and Uncle Alex playing the accordion, and they finished doing Dirty Old Town, and he was just like that. After that, he came up to me and he's just like, he says, well, what do you think? I was just like that. It's the funniest thing I've seen in ages. And he's like, you up for it? I says, aye. And he's just like that, great, we're playing tonight. And he's like that, the wee pub across the road in Donald's, I don't think it's there anymore. Hammer just wanted me to restring his guitar and we're going to go and play songs. I'm like that to my missus, I'm like, sorry. It's like, the Skylar was like this, like that. So literally just went home, got a guitar, strung his and back out. So moving on, he wanted to do his original stuff, and Hammer's a fantastic bass player, and I don't know how it came about it, but we were sitting jamming in his house one day, and like a younger guy came into the band who was a brilliant lead guitarist, and I was like, there's no point in the three of us playing sort of, so I just kind of picked up his acoustic bass, and Hammer's like, oh, I forgot you played that. So before you know it, I'm playing bass in a bass player's band and stuff like that, and it was good fun. So it was like the Clutha charity thing, we were in Kilmarnock, we were playing, and the Stumblers were a two-piece that night, and they were on the bill, and yeah, I'd never met either of them before. I'd seen them before, and we played, and they came up and said, we're looking for a bass player, will you come play bass with us? And I'm like, well, I'm just kind of filling in a little bit. I said, look, if you're struggling and you've got a gig coming up and there's no pressure. And 2 weeks later, we played at the Admiral supporting Miles and Erica for the winter stuff. So I was like that. I brought Taylor, played in the Crocs with us. So we brought Taylor on board, and I was like, Uncle Alec just jumped ship as well and just came on. And it was just like, I don't think he played that night, but yeah. So that was a kind of bigger picture. And we're all still friends, do you know what I mean? So this thing about music is like, you intertwine. I say, after all these years, recently at your birthday party, I say, there's certain people jump on stage. So we'll be nameless. Do you know what I mean? I think purposely I actually had my wireless pack on the guitar so I could just move it away for MD that's coming up to playing stage. Do you know what I mean? So, but it's a big family. That's what music is. Do you know what I mean? It says, and it is an honour. To get asked to still play, and I say, Barry's there behind the camera and stuff like that. But me and Barry have played in bands for years and years. You know what I mean? And then even now we still do things, and I've been lucky enough. Barry's daughter was, in the band with us as well, and I've actually co-wrote a song with her as well, and, just like, I think it was over lockdown, we just sent lyrics to each other and stuff, so it's always a big family, you know what I mean, and so...
It's because it's quite a small scene in Kilmarnock as well. I mean, even, we've gone through quite a lot of people, for someone for their 70s right to their, mid-20s, and
early 40s.
Aye, well, aye. Just got that there. Most folk know, if they don't know the person, they know who they are, but most folk know each other pretty well.
And see, when you're writing a song, Campbell, how does the process work?
For me, I'm on more about the lyrics. I still do it. I write lyrics all the time, stuff like that. I know it wasn't quite a song or anything like that, but when it was your birthday, I wrote that, but it incorporated everybody, do you know what I mean? So it kind of explained a wee bit of your journey and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know why, but, and I did nearly bring it as a kind of show and tell. I've got some daft stuff, but when I had and stayed in the flat, I've just got like a A4 scrapbook that I used to get people just to sign and write lyrics in it. And I was going to bring it because it's got some Martin Cuthbert stuff in it. Oh, right. So I was like, I'm going to take some pictures and I maybe send them on and stuff like that.
Cuthbert stuff's brilliant.
Yeah, but I mean, it's obviously this is 20 years ago and longer.
Stuff he's putting out just now is really, really
absolutely,
good.
Totally. So yeah, I say that the lyrics thing it's always been. It must have been a creative thing because I still do write stuff like that. I said jokingly, I was showing Barry the thing that I wrote about, leaving my guitar outside the Grand Hall, but the whole part of it was like it was quite a sad thing, and it was quite emotional thing, but it wasn't really, and it wasn't personal. Do you know what I mean? It was, so the lyrics don't have to be personal, but I don't know. So yeah, I still do write, and occasionally I will record a wee bit. I say I don't particularly do the whole recording thing. I literally would just put a mic on and record something sort of live and just to have it. So I might one day sort of record an album full of all my wanderings and stuff like that. But
I think I've heard you singing before.
Well, it happens.
Mate, I don't.
Campbell's a really good singer.
I can assure you Campbell's not. But
No, I've heard you.
Have I heard you singing?
But I tell you something, Campbell has improved. He's like, I've went from shite to not so shite. But no, occasionally.
I must have heard you singing.
Aye, I've heard you singing.
Yeah, no, I say, well, Kirky can take all that back. Campbell is no a good singer, but
The more you do it, the easier it becomes.
occasionally I say, like, you're moving on, like, what do you do in music stuff? Over the years, I discovered open mic things, and I really like playing that. I like playing with people in music and genres that I'm not comfortable playing in, or I don't know the songs, and that improves you and keeps you sort of sharp and stuff. And I go to open mics still. I'll play guitar and my wife will sing. So I say we still do that, and intend to do that as well. You know what I mean? And so.
You also worked with the Cider Spiders. How did that come about?
Friends initially. It was like we used to help sort of run the wee studio, the last year's men thing, and the boys rehearsed there, and party gigs in the Burlington Berties, and we all became friends and stuff like that. And that they needed, obviously I'm of the slightly older variety, and they needed a wee bit of a push and a wee bit more organisation.
Guidance.
Yes, guidance would probably be. And we were chatting away one day, we were just having a laugh, and they said something, and I said, look, I says, I'll manage you. And they just looked at me, and they went, would you? And I wish the fuck I hadn't. I said, like, I'll just tell you that right now. I says, the boys were amazing, do you know what I mean? But hard work. Certain aspects, it's all creative. So I was like, you would never take back any of those times. But yeah, really, really hard work. And amazing musicians, do you know what I mean? So it's like, and even people that don't know the band and stuff like that, if you were to put on a song, 12 O'Clock Shadow or Jimmy Floyd or any of these songs, it's just like, it just clicks and it takes them back to that time. So even if they weren't familiar with the band, they'll suddenly realise, oh, I actually do know that band and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I see with great times. I did a wee bit of show and tell. I brought in just a picture I printed off there. It's one of the ones that I normally take photos when we're at gigs. So it's quite a cool wee thing. So that's outside Rockers in Glasgow. But so I normally sort of take photos at all the gigs. So I've got all this kind of stuff, and so going all the way back and stuff like that. And I brought, and you possibly have it. So I brought a wee picture of the CDs we gave out, the Wicker Man. And again, when I'm just saying it was hard work, it was literally, okay, I might be doing the organising thing, but before you know it, I'm spending days printing off and all the audio CDs and and flipping it over them, burning the picture onto it, and just so that we can give it out to 500, 1,000 people. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. That side of it, was hard work, but it got the name out there. Do you know what I mean? And I say, moving on, they played this, they played that. They won a couple of Battler bands. They played festival. They played up at a big festival, Falkirk. We got it all organised. We ran a bus up there. Murray, a few of all the guys were all coming to that as well. Tea in the Park, so we were sitting sort of in tender hooks, waiting for the phone call to find out if they were getting to play Tea in the Park. But I already knew beforehand, but I wasn't allowed to say. So it was like, yeah, they did brilliant, and I say the music's a testament to how good they are. You know what I mean? It's like that.
Brilliant band.
I must admit, I still listen to them.
That's
But
it.
the CD you gave me, and it was a kind of the rough demo thing.
Yeah, of course.
And then they made the album, and songs like Defect 5 and Killer Police weren't on the album. Kind of thought they were great songs. Why do you not put them on the album? But the album came out and it was all kind of newer stuff.
Was Willie Boland kind of involved with you at that time as well with Mans and Spiders?
Not particularly, no. I think, we just, obviously we were friends, and I think, again, I think, it can put together, there was a gig at the Grand Hall or Palace Theatre.
Someone up to see Spiders and Willie was kind of involved.
I seen him in King Tutsi. No, I went up with a guy I worked with, and it was the night they were releasing the album. It was like an album launch thing. Yeah.
I think it was Box I went up with, maybe. But I think you'd have to manage Willie as well, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah.
Hiya, Willie. What are you watching?
Again, obviously, you sidetracked there. We were involved in My First Music as well, which is, and there was a kind of sidetrack for that as well that kind of spun off. But we put on lots of bands in Berlin, Bertie's, and other places as well. Do you know what I mean?
Tavern.
Yeah, there was a lot of band promotion. Again, collectively here, Monroe, Barry, we were big part of the Wicker Man, which is a lot of people probably know that as well. And going back to the Sunflower Trip, me and Barry were lucky enough to be one of the first bands to in fact, we opening band for the Wicker Man. But and obviously, if you're organising a festival, you've got to get your own band on it. I'm just telling you that right now. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. It's like we're all going to be there anyway. Do you know what I mean? So we might as well play. So we kind of got our name into that. But yeah, the promotion side of it, we did all that. But I ended up a bit more involved in it because Hammer, as you know, I say again, tops off to Hammer. He was organising and he was taking too much on. There was so much to do, bringing all the bands in and all the support and all this, and he was taking too much on. And sadly, he fell ill and ended up in hospital. But he kept everything to himself, you know what I mean? So it was just like I had to sort of like prise his hands open like that and then sort of take charge of all his scribbles and notes. And I say, I've got my scribbles here, but it was just like piles of stuff and I had to just kind of get it regimented. And I think that's just a kind of mindset for me. I said, earlier on you said I'm probably the first person to actually print off my homework, like my answers and not kind of went through them and stuff like that. But then again, I say when I talk about scribbles, you won't be able to do a handwriting, so it's a fine line.
And see all the organising bands and promoting, and is that something you enjoy?
It's a necessity. Whether I enjoy it or not, and obviously, we play in a band together, and sometimes it's hard to get 8 people in a room to rehearse. Do you know what I mean? Again, just the logistics of it and stuff like that. But I mean, it's all part of the journey. It's what I keep saying, it's like that. But yeah, as you know, my son plays in a band, and I've done a little bit of the promotion side of that, and a little bit. Barry recorded them, did a wee EP in the house and stuff. Just printed off hundreds of CDs again, just old fashioned. Do you know what I mean? Printed the picture, got a wee logo together. Bands out there, and because of obviously my experience and sort of who I am, other bands that will approach and say, "Oh, can your son's band play this?" And a big shout out to to Breen and that. They were doing the kind of reformed Angel Seattle's for the last time, and they were doing a private function, and they wanted my band's son's band or the band he plays in, the Pines, to play. And then moving on, after that they played down at HMV with them and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a magnitude and it's a family. Do you know what I mean? It's literally they've had the experience that me and Monroe and everyone's put towards these people, and they're paying it back. They're like, "Oh, that's great. Why don't you do this?" I know you had Daniel for Grange Street, and again, Daniel had seen the Pines play, and straight away they were doing some gig at Baker's, and got in contact with the band. Can you play this? You know what I mean? So I say it's just a big picture. You know what I mean?
How was it, that gig? Yeah. Campbell, you've played in a few bands, you've played a lot of different places. What's your favourite places to play, locally and further afield?
So local wise, it's got a big place in the heart, and it's just reopened. It's Fanny's. Whether it was playing like with the Foo Band or playing the open mics, because I used to play open mic with like with Taylor and Stevie, and just turn up. They used to do like a Sunday afternoon thing, so that it was really good fun. The Harbour Arts, the new Harbour Arts and the old, like the Hack. I say we used to play in the pub where it had like the roaring fireplace and all that. Do you know what I mean? It's going back a wee bit. I'd put on it Fury Murray's, whether Ayr and Glasgow. That was good fun. I've scribbled down Bonnet and Galladay, and Barry will appreciate that. We were actually playing somewhere in Glasgow, and we'd done like 2 nights in a row somewhere, and I think it was Toffee or somebody contacted and say, a band's pulled out for the Bonnet and Galladay tomorrow, can you just play? We're like that, we're here, like, no bother. So Bonnet and Galladay, and Barry's daughter Zoe, rather young then, she came up and sang and played with us, and I don't know, she played a Nirvana song and bass, I think, as well. So it was sort of good fun. Moving on, is like I go to the Black Bull in Darvel. I met some musicians sort of through that are from up the kind of alleyway, and I've been there lots of times, see bands and the open mic stuff, and from there, like, it moves on to, I spoke earlier on about, they've got the outside thing, the Pines, and various people have played at that, and it's a great place called the Corner in Darvel. And from that, again, I've played at New Mills, Galladay as well. I'm not like promoting myself for the Galladay or like that, but again, it's just friendships. It's just a case of, okay, they've put together a band, and it's not a set piece. It's just a case of a bunch of musicians, and they've been doing it for years like that, just come up and play. And again, playing songs that you don't know, it keeps you on par. You know what I mean? It's like that. If you don't play for a long time, it can dip and stuff like that. But it keeps your sort of skill level, and it takes you to a different place. Occasionally, I've been known to play with, and it might be somebody that you've interviewed. I don't know who's on your list, but Michael McCluskey and Stuart Ferguson, phenomenal musicians, and I take my hat off to them. Phenomenal musicians, and that's one time, like a long time ago, in the Caddy-Coy, they were doing a wee backroom session and playing away, and I think I just started to learn to play guitar, and they kind of brought me in, and sort of I loved it, and I really enjoyed that part of it. And then years later, just out of the blue, they got Michael messaged or something like that and said, "Oh, we're doing this," and it's him and Stuart again. And it's like, okay, I was like, do you mean I just turn up and play? And I think I took my acoustic bass guitar and literally just took an amp, turned up, played for hours. They play all the keys under the sun, and again, it's just an experience to play with so talented musicians. And I say, when the Caddy-Coy, the owner, was retiring, they were having a kind of send off. We were asked to play, and again, it was just like, in fact, Barry was there as well. We just went up and we just played whatever was available. And whatever songs they wanted, and people heckled and shouted, and it was great times. So yeah.
Rubus, how has music changed you?
Me and Barry were chatting about this, just in general. It was like that. It's made me poor, because the amount of concerts we go to and festivals, and I was saying, like, I went to a gig a couple of nights ago and I didn't actually buy a t-shirt, which is like a miracle. I think my wife was disappointed in that, but that's a different story. But yeah, no, it's a big circle, as I mentioned earlier on, massive sort of music family. And, like when we play, we are a sort of collective. Sometimes somebody can't make it and we swap, or, we change sort of, even change instruments and stuff like that. So it's outreach, I mean, it's like that. So yeah, it's been a big, massive part of my life. When I first met the good lady, she didn't realise that I sort of played in bands and stuff, because I was having a wee kind of interlude. And she did say that if she knew that I was, one of those kind of people and going that kind of direction, that we wouldn't have been together. But then it turned out that there was a small world. Like one time we were playing Straw Dogs, and we were playing down in Harley's, and it was so busy. Her and her friend had actually walked into that gig and waited too long at the bar to get served. They looked across, and it was really, so and we've got it videoed, so I don't particularly remember seeing her there, and she didn't know me. But it's just that small sort of like, they actually came into the gig and went, nah, too busy. And we were there enjoying ourselves. Then later on, years, like this video came out anywhere, and we're watching it on YouTube, and she was like, I was at that gig. And it was just like, so I say it swings around a bit. I mean, so music's a massive sort of, yeah.
Your son Jethro is a very talented musician. You must be very proud when the two of you are playing together.
I am. I mean, I say he's really, really talented. It's like that. You know, the band he also plays in, you know, with the younger boys rather than his older boys, I'd like to say. But yeah, no, he's good. And he plays multi-instruments as well. And it is good fun to play in the band. But obviously at the end of the day, I'm his dad. So we can clash because we're very alike. When they first started sort of to play in like, you know, the other band and stuff like that, and we were sitting just jamming songs, we have a wee bit of friction. It's just like, you know, the first thing is like, please tune that. Do you know what I mean? And then, but taking all that on board and moving on, he takes my sort of qualities of sort of organisation and stuff like that, and he takes it to his band. I'm quite sort of known for doing my set lists and printing them off and laminating them and, you know, having spare everything with me so that there's no things like that. And Jethro's took that on board when he's doing that with his band. You know, he's like, because no offence to them, you know, again, young boys, you know, they do turn up without a guitar strap, without leads and stuff like that, you know, break strings, no spare strings. But he's took on that kind of side of it. But moving back to it is like, it is a pleasure. And, you know, the last thing we probably did was play it at your birthday. And it was good fun, you know, and the amount of people that came up and, you know, they complimented him, do you know what I mean? It's like that, and, you know, so yeah, it's good fun.
I'm just saying that he's a smashing lad, you know, for teenagers these days got a bad rep, don't you? But Jethro's just such a lovely boy, you know, he's a really nice lad, and he's a good musician.
Yep, definitely.
What advice have you got for young musicians, Rubus?
I don't know, like, if we were sort of, if people gave us advice or not, but I'm like that. I think it's just be yourself, enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you want to be that good in that direction, enjoy it. I would say wear Paisley pattern. That's my kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? But going back to the music side of it is just jam your pals and then make it the bigger circle we spoke about, and play music with people you don't know the genres and stuff like that. It might not be your thing, because I say punk rock was never my thing. You know, it's like that. And then I kind of get like, well, you should come this direction, and then it's like it became a sort of massive sort of, you know, point in my life and stuff like that. But yeah, just sort of broaden your horizon, you know. But I say just keep the circle, just, you know, just work with it. Have spare strings if you play a stringed instrument. If you're a drummer and you get spare strings, then yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I suppose practice. It hurts your fingers, but yeah, you've got to do the constant thing.
You now play with the Westway Allstars. How did that come about?
Well, I think there's a few stories to that.
I would like to know.
There was a surprise birthday party for somebody. That'd be you. Me and you were going to be meeting because nobody wanted to go out for a drink with you.
That's right.
And you were
50th.
Aye,
10 years ago this was.
You were a bit disappointed. So I'd left the Stumblers, and it just happened to be at the bar, and Kirky's like that. He says, "Oh, I'm really sorry you've left the Stumblers." I said, "Look, no, it's all good. We're good friends." This is. It was a great journey, but for me, journey came to an end, and, you know, the boys in the band knew where we were at with that. And straight away he's like that, Kirky's like that to me. He said, "Oh, I know you don't want to do anything like that, but we're doing this." So, and that was like the first time he kind of asked me to, and I was like, "We're doing this week in a project," and it might not be called the Westway at that. And then another time I think we're in Fanny's, and he'd asked me, he's like, "Oh, we're doing this, and we're up at the studio," and I was just like, "Oh, I don't think so. I'm just too busy." And then one time we're doing it at Belfield Tavern, we're watching our band and stuff, and Kirky's good lady says to me, "How come you've been asked to play and you've not done it?" And I said, "Well, don't give me the right offer." And she's like, "Well, what's the right offer?" And I'm like, "That beer, whiskey and sandwiches." And I always stick with that, do you know what I mean? And
kebabs, surely.
Yeah. So I'm like that, and straight away Kirky overheard that, and he's like, "I can sort that out." And we went through there. So it was like, I came up with the idea one time of we're doing the alarm songs. We're chatting about stuff, and he's like, "Oh, if we were going to do some songs in the middle of what we were doing," I'm like, "Let's do alarm songs." And then we kind of pulled those songs together. We did a couple of wee things at the Belfield Tavern, but then the band kind of expanded and more musicians came into it, you know, and it is a collective, you know what I mean? So if Barry couldn't play, someone else filled in, and, you know, if Kevin couldn't play because he plays everything, then, you know, we would work around it, you know what I mean? It's like we would just cater the songs for a slightly different direction. It's like that, you know, we've got the fiddle, it's like that, we've got the drums, the bass, a couple of guitarists, the odd penny whistle if it comes in, it's great. If it's not there, we work around it, you know. the accordion, everything that's going is like that. The circle gets smaller, it gets bigger, but I say as a collective musicians, and again, stage divers that come up and steal mics and stuff like that.
I never come. I'm asked. I never.
I would say the secret, when you were talking earlier, I would say the secret is to be persistent, because I've got you new.
Oh,
So you started the Westway Allstars at my surprise 50th 10 years ago. That I knew nothing about it, obviously.
That's a different story for the one that I can remember. I can remember we did a thing, it was me, Whitey and Hugh Clinton at one of the Hooter Nannies, and it was because we were just doing it acoustically again, and then when I come off the stage you said, are you looking for a bass player? That's how I can remember it. And I thought, there's Rubis, Paul plays the drums, you were doing the sound, Barry was doing the sound that night. I thought, that's a band. Huh? That's how I can remember it. But what you say is probably right.
Yeah.
It's probably right.
But see, obviously, I don't always, sort of, it's really weird. It's like how people know me as a musician, in the latter years, playing bass and stuff like that. And now back in the Westway, I'm really, sort of playing rhythm guitar and stuff like that. But it is that whole thing of, he used to play bass in the Stumblers, but then people would like recognise me from like Straw Dogs and stuff like that. You're like, he used to get drunk on the stage when we know and let him spit at him. Do you know what I mean? So that's true story. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. So yeah, no, it's like, but we also did like a couple of wee things at the Belfield thing with it's like sadly for box passing and stuff like that, and we did some songs together for those kind of things as well, and I think that it just kind of expanded a wee bit. Do you know what I mean? So the more the merrier. I say, MD out there that wants to. My house isn't that big, because to be fair, when we do the acoustic stuff for rehearsing in my house, so it's like that. We can squeeze another couple of people in, but no more.
You've just moved on to the next question. You've a wee studio rehearsal space at home. Do you prefer playing in there or playing live?
It's a bit of both. Obviously, it's like we, as a rehearsal, when it's good and it just evolves. It's really good fun, like that. The live, it's just sometimes there's technicalities that you don't want to have to deal with. If you're in the safe environment or whatever, like in that if N breaks down, I've got multiple options. It's like when you're gigging and something goes wrong, it's not quite the same. It doesn't go wrong very often, I will say that right now, but yeah, no, we've had some fantastic rehearsals in the house. I say, as 4-piece, 5-piece, probably up to 8-piece, something like that. Barry's daughter and things like that. Zoe and her good husband Barry is like that. I don't want to say 2 Barrys because it's confusing. But yeah, we had a powerhouse of Zoe there, and Barry playing the ukulele, and again Barry multi instruments, and Zoe as well. Do you know what I mean? So again, we would swap and pull it all together. So yeah, it's.
Rubis, what has been your musical highlight?
Playing at your birthday party.
Thank you.
We'll take that.
That was a highlight for me today. Aye. Having a man I'd tracked down for that long and pestered him to be in my band, and then he eventually said aye. I'm
not even playing bass in it these days, so no, it's all good. I don't know. There has been literally so many. There's funny stories that we can talk about sort of off screen as such as like that. Straw Dogs and the journey and everything's just been so much fun. And I say I had sort of scribbled down one quick story that we're going to a gig and we're playing the Renfrew Ferry, and yeah, we were playing at say 10 o'clock at night, meeting at my flat in the town centre, drinking at 11 o'clock in the afternoon wasn't the best idea. It's like, and Barry can laugh, he was there, do you know what I mean? So there's no. So what we did is like we were just going up, winging it, just taking our instruments, getting the train, happy days. So we got drunk at my house. Had a couple of beers socialising. We went for the train. We're on the train. We got a phone call that one of the other bands that was playing, their guitar amp blew. Could we bring an amp? We're on the train. No. So we got to Glasgow, and the carriage was full of these women that were getting steam on the way up, and it turned out these were police women that were going up for a seminar. So they got off the train and just approached me with bags of beer, which was not a good thing. And no, don't give a band bags of beer. So it was just like, oh, would you like this? Because we can't take it to where we're going. Like, well, yes. But then we're carrying the bags of beer, and then we're walking to guitar or whatever it was, and actually buying a guitar amp, and we went and bought this Marshall combo thing and then carried it between us all to the Renfrew Ferry. Like that.
Was that support? Was that the Sex Pistols experience?
Aye, I think it was.
Was that who it was?
So we ended up going to Renfrew Ferry, and Hammer was working. He was working late, and Hammer's been renowned to be a wee bit of a party animal. But he was working late, and he was driving his van down and then doing the gig and stuff like that. And he arrived, and we were sloshed. And I mean sloshed, so we were. And he walked in, and I like to use the word tipsy quite often. We were tipsy, and as part of the band sort of payment, there was a rider as well. So not only been drinking in my house and then socialising on the train and then getting more beer and then taking it up, sneaking it into the room and stuff like that, we actually drank the other band's beer as well. And like that, and when we get back, I was like that. Hammer he couldn't believe the state we're in. And I was just like that, pot and kettle, do you know what I mean?
I'm trying to remember.
We've all been there.
I think it was three of us, Kev and Hammer.
And there was a Ramones tribute band, I think, played as well.
Aye. And then we were on second, and I still drank at gigs at that stage. Because it was before Alec came in, I still drank at gigs. Oh,
I think that might have been the gig that I jumped off stage and then I was in the crowd at the front.
With those white shirts on with the writing on it.
Yeah.
Is that? There's a picture of you and me in some magazine, wasn't there?
So it was like
a normal magazine.
Yeah.
I might add.
So yeah, literally just wee things like that. One time we were going to the Renfrew Ferry for the Damned, and we stole Steve-O.
That's right.
We literally hijacked him. We were going up there with the van or the minibus or whatever, and we're just driving by him. I don't know where he was, but we just drove by him, and he's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going to shops," and he's like that, flung in the back of the van, and like that, and we were up, and it was like, I don't know if we were promoting the Damned, or it was when the Damned were going to be playing in Kilmarnock. We were doing the promotion.
That was that night, because Big Steve was at the gig, the Sex Pistol Experience gig.
Yeah.
He was here. That was the night I'm sure that was the same, or another night we'd played. It was another night, maybe with Combat Rock, actually, and he came to that gig, and was quite a few boys who come on up. I think that was the same night, and we're promoting the damn gig.
Well, on the night we played with Combat Rock, on the stage they had, I don't know if it was like gel lights or something like that, but there was a jam tribute band, Combat Rock and the Straw Dogs, and it was so warm that everybody kept breaking strings, and it was like when Hammer came down, we'd done a set, we caught most of Combat Rock, but we weren't staying to the end, unfortunately. But at that point in time, I'd been like a guitar tech for the jam tribute band. I had literally just been like restringing his guitar constantly. It's like eventually he used like my guitar, and we'd brought a spare guitar as well. And then we played, and we kind of got through it. And Combat Rock were playing, and Mark broke strings as well, and he was like just shaking his head. So I was like, I said, "Oh, just play my guitar." And then 6 months later, I got it back. We were at the Wicker Man.
It
was just like that.
Absolute oven. So I know when we met Colin, he was behind us, big guy with the Mohican and the moustache. Remember Big Colin? We played Bridge of Weir a month later. Good big guy.
Campbell, what's your plans for the future?
Well, I'm sticking with the Westway.
Good.
No choice.
I like that.
He won't let you go.
Like, apparently, once you're in, you're in. It's
Aye.
not.
You're in for life.
The music scene is like it's building again, Jim. There's a lot sort of going on. I just like playing. It doesn't matter, to how many people or whatever. I just like jamming and playing. I say I will turn up. My good friend sort of called McEnroy. I've turned up to lots of his gigs, just taking my little U bass and just plugging into his PA and playing whatever songs he plays. Just or people shout at us. So I like that kind of edginess of it. I say not playing songs I know, but just kind of going like that. Still going to do the bit of jamming, the open night thing with my wife. I say, but it's really good fun. Again, we're sitting learning it. We like to have a wee social beer in the house if we can when we're learning that. So that's good fun. The Westway, I think if we can plug it, I think we're playing the Caddicoy on the 20th of September. So if you just can all make it, obviously quite often we have a guest vocalist, which again, names will be no named. We might have another member that's playing that night as well, who's been interviewed recently. So he wants to just kind of join the fraternity, if you want to call it, and stuff like that.
And we're lucky to have him.
Yeah, I say, moving on, we'll pull something together. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I might do other things. I still write. I don't know if I write that I want to write to write songs for things, but I still in the background write all the time. So I might just send that to my good pal in Poland, to Zoe, and she might put music to it, and we'll pull stuff together. So yeah, still playing. So keeps you alive.
It's all good. Rubus, It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, man. It's been good
Thank
fun.
you.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Big thumbs up to Barry, by the way, in the camera. Just say.